I think I don't even need to say that the Colosseum is the symbol of Rome, so for me it must be the first place to visit, to see it. If you don't have the time to enter, it really doesn't matter. You can walk around and still it's great to see it. If you decide to visit, I suggest to get your ticket in advance and I recommend to visit at least the arena. With that ticket, you can go after the arena to the third tier, which is the regular tour. There is a ticket to visit the arena floor, the Roman Forum, and Palatine Hill. All three are places you must visit to get a taste of what was Rome 2000 years ago. But you need a previous knowledge of the site or a tour guide. It is up to you. I will suggest to visit the Colosseum and admire its magnificence and later or another day visit the other sites. I went to the underground. It was enjoyable, but a bit disappointing at the same time because the guide the Colosseum assigned it to us. But anyway, it was worthy at the end. Although next time I won't do it. How massive it is. It's incredible. Just 2000 years ago. And they were able to just build this. Isn't it incredible? This church is amazing and many people ignore it. It is 2 blocks away from the Colosseum and there is a link between the two sites. It is a 3-tiered complex of buildings, 3 levels of civilization history. The present basilica, built just before the year 1100 during the height of the Middle Ages. Also, you can find here the remains of Saint Cyril. Beneath the present basilica is a 4th century basilica that had been converted out of the home of a Roman nobleman, part of which had in the 1st century briefly served as an early church, and the basement of which had in the 2nd century briefly served as a temple of Mithras.
Not because of the beauty, but for example, because of fire, because that was a big problem in the Great Fire of Rome. They had to tear down many buildings to create.
And the home of the Roman nobleman had been built on the foundation of Republican-era villa and warehouse that had been destroyed in the Great Fire of AD 64. This part somehow is connected with the Colosseum through the Ludus Magnus. Just going through every level of history and civilization here is extraordinary, but it is also spooky. Some parts are very dark and could be feel a bit claustrophobic. You are really deep in Rome history here. In terms of other churches, I also recommend to visit Chiesa di San Ignacio di Loyola in Campo Marzio, a beautiful Baroque church, for me more beautiful than San Luigi dei Francesi near Piazza Navona. La cupola è una pittura. And I especially recommend to visit the Basilica San Pietro in Vincoli, near the Colosseum, where you can see the Moses by Michelangelo. Here you can also stumble on the remains of the chains of St. Peter, of what they claim they are. I also found Basilica di Santa Maria in Trastevere fantastic, and it could be the end of a stroll in the afternoon through Trastevere. For me, Via Borghese Gallery is the most beautiful art gallery in the world. Not only houses some of the most stunning Bernini sculptures, but the building itself, its walls, the frescoes, the floors, everything is amazing to see it. And also, when you're there, please visit the gardens and the view from Terrazza del Pincio. The best moment to be in this terrazza is at sunset, when the view is absolutely stunning. The best moment to be in this terraza is at sunset, when the view is absolutely stunning. But be sure to be early, because there will be a crowd waiting for the same thing at the same time. The views from the top of the Altar della Patria are amazing, and they are really views of Rome, probably the best views of Rome. The Altare della Patria is not an archaeological site. It is not antique Rome. But since you are there for the views, doesn't hurt to explore it. In the case of the dome of St. Peter Basilica, yes, it is worthy to see it, but I think it is more a view of Vatican hills and its surroundings than views of Rome. You can do it if you have a time. I have to say that the bars on the dome of St. Peter's Basilica are a nuisance. You feel you are inside a cage. Rome is not only churches, archaeological sites, and art galleries, but also the environment, the people, their customs, and I found the passeggiata through Via del Corso absolutely wonderful, vibrant, and where you can see not only tourists, but actual Romans. You should go all the way along Via del Corso to Piazza del Popolo, and from there to the Terraza del Pincio to see the sunset, and then get back and end the stroll in Piazza di Spagna. One of the things I enjoyed the most was walking through the streets of Rome, capturing the urban experience of the living city, finding little corners here and there where small details of its past shows on walls, windows or stones. In Terrazza del Pincio, people gathers, take pictures of the views, listen music played by local artists, chat with each other.
Dobbiamo andare su perché dobbiamo andare a destra.
I also recommend to have a stroll through Trastevere. Somehow here I feel transported to my home country, serpentine narrow streets of my old Havana.
Als ze met z'n allen eten rijden. Jo, men det tror jag. Jag tycker att det är fantastiskt.
Was it donated as a gift?
Of course, I include in this package St. Peter Basilica, although I haven't mentioned it. It has a free entrance fee, but if you want to visit it, you have to arrive very early, since the lineups are huge. I know, I put it a bit far from number one, but although it is a place to visit, after all it is one of the largest museums in the world, the experience in the Vatican is hectic. You will find overwhelmed by the crowds. The guys push you too fast through the art pieces and rooms to the point that you can barely appreciate it well. And in the Sistine, you have little time and you are bullied by everybody. It is not a pleasant experience, but you need to see it. If you have time, I would suggest to split this tour in 2 days. One for the Musei Vaticani and Sistine Chapel, the next one for St. Peter Basilica and its dome. And remember, always in the morning. It is an architecture marvel. and I invite you to walk around it and see from the outside too. Again, you will be better suited if you know a bit about this building and its history. The visit, as many places in Rome, is a bit hectic for the amount of people in the piazza in front of it and inside. And today you have to pay a ticket to enter, but it is easy to buy it, even there. Because Rome is, in my opinion, a full experience in life, I recommend some places to eat. These are my favorites. Gelato. Of course, the oldest gelateria in Rome, Palazzo del Freddo, Gelateria Fassi, Via Principe Eugenio, 65, GROOM, Via Agonale 3, corner Piazza Navona. It is a franchise, yes, but believe it or not, really great gelato. Lunch. Baghetto Milky, Via del Portico d'Ottavia, in the Jewish ghetto near Trastevere and Teatro di Marcello. Pizzeria Romana al Taglio, Via del Governo Vecchio 10. This jewel I found when I left the Vatican, and please try pizza di patate. Amazing. If you are knowledgeable about Rome history, it could be done alone with a single ticket. But otherwise, I recommend a good guide because it will help you to understand the site with its ruins. The problem you run here is what you see is an overwhelmed group of remains, but I mean really scattered remains with a few exceptions. It is just sparse fragments of buildings and remains. If you don't have a previous knowledge of it and a great imagination, you won't understand and see the whole picture as it was. And also, there are too many places to look at, what makes it a bit confusing. It helps if you see online a few digital reconstruction and information, even for those who are getting a tour guide. Besides that, I think it is very important to visit. I must say, it is important to visit inside, but even more to go around and see the place from its outskirts, because it gives you the scope of what it was then. Piazza Navona, Piazza di Spagna, and Fontana di Trevi. These three places are iconic. People gather there, take pictures, or simply relax after a day of visiting other places. The fountains here, beautiful as they are, bring this pleasant atmosphere that make the places the favorites of visitors. But I also recommend to walk a bit along the Tiber River. It is peaceful and also beautiful, and sometimes people forget with so many places to see it. Of course, when you visit the Vatican, you cannot skip Piazza San Pietro, and if you have a time and find the ticket, visit the Vatican Gardens. Hello? Many people notice Piazza Navona has the shape of a Roman stadium. Well, actually, it was a stadium. It was known as Stadio Domitiano, thus the shape of the piazza. In 1936, when part of the houses built on one of the curved sides of the stadium were demolished, experts were able to discover a portion of the cavea, a staircase for the audience, where one of the main entrances was located. The archaeological discoveries include numerous sculptures fragments and a pentelic marble torso, a copy of the 4th century BC Apollo Lycaeus by Praxiteles. Other remains of the stadium have been identified in many basements of Piazza Navona. Others are located underneath the buildings of the École Française de Rome and under the beautiful church of Sant'Agnese. The ruins of the Stadium of Domitian in Piazza Navona are located about 4.5 meters below the street level, and you can visit it. I did, and I tell you, it is interesting to see it. The Mamertine prison was a prison with a dungeon. It is said to have been built in the 7th century BC. Although St. Paul is said to have been held in the Mamertine prison, he awaited trial in a house in the southern Campus Martius that became the church of San Paolo alla Regola. The site has been used for Christian worship since medieval times and is currently occupied by two superimposed churches, San Giuseppe dei Falegnami, upper level, and San Pietro in Carcere, lower level. The cross on the altar in the lower chapel is upside down, since, according to tradition, St. Peter was crucified that way. It has been long references that St. Peter was imprisoned here, but even the Catholic Encyclopedia refused this, and that there is little first-hand account of St. Peter's imprisonment there other than being the only single-cell prison available for VIPs deemed threats to the state. Piazza del Campidoglio, on the top of the Capitoline Hill, took on its current layout in the 16th century, when Pope Paul III commissioned Michelangelo to complete a renovation. It is surrounded by many important sites: the Capitoline Museums, the Mamertine Prison, the Basilica di Santa Maria in Ara Coeli al Campidoglio, and in the back, the Roman Forum. In the center of the piazza, you can see the equestrian statue of Marcus Aurelius, an ancient Roman statue. Please, don't make a mistake. This is not a Michelangelo's work. It is an ancient equestrian statue. The original is on display in the Capitoline Museums, while the sculpture now standing in the open air at the piazza is a replica made in 1981, when the original was taken down for restoration.